Hi again, so this is part two of my rewiring video, and I'm going to be rewiring the inside track of my layout now, and this is going to be a little bit different because it's got a return loop. This is basically how I've got wired at the moment. So there's my controller, there's my bus wire going round, there's my droppers, connecting the rails to the bus wires, and in order for the return loop to function correctly, I've got isolators there and there. So the outside track is isolated there and there, and they are operated with these two on-off switches. However, because of there's the power supply here and here, it kind of means that these isolators don't do anything because there's still power in this part of the track. So to get around that, I've interrupted the bus. Basically, with the two on-off switches, I can switch this entire part of the bus off, which kills power to the track there and there. So that all works fine as it currently is. But to change the bus wire into a terminal block, I'm having to rethink this a little bit, but in principle I'll be doing the same thing. So this is what I'll be doing. There's my controller, there's my power supply going into the terminal block. I can take wires out into the track there and there, just as I would normally. But for the other two, it's going to have to be slightly different because I need to be able to switch them on and off in order to kill power to this part of the track. So what I'll be doing is take a black wire from this side of the terminal block into an on-off switch, and then another wire go from the switch up to here, and then there'll be two wires going from that single wire to the outside rail. And then again, a red wire going from this side of the terminal block to another switch, wire coming up to two wires connecting the inside rail. So that means, just as I had as I currently have, these two switches here, which kill this part of the bus, these two switches will kill the power supply there. That's what I'm going to be doing. So let's get under the board and get on with it. Okay, that's the terminal I've already fitted for the outside track, and this is going to be the one for the inside track. With this one I wired it up before I screwed it on. This time I've screwed it on first. I've decided it's going to be easier to wire it up when it's screwed on. When you're working above your head, you're having to hold things in place, and one thing less to hold makes it easier. Okay, so these are the wires from the controller that will connect to the bus, and as I did before, I'm fitting these quite loose. Let's just get a staple it. You notice I've got lots of wires on top, but these are all the wires for the points, so these are all going to get moved and rewired into the bus for those at some point. Just connect the red wire in. I think the worst thing about doing this is you're working above your head, which is something I always hate doing, whether it's painting a ceiling or working underneath a car or whatever. You know, your circulation is fighting gravity all the time. Not to mention your muscles. And when you get to that kind of age, it's not very nice. Right, okay, that is the terminal now connected to the power controller. So now I need to connect up the wires from the track into this. Okay, so I've disconnected my bus wires. These two wires there are, this is one set of droppers from the track, and then there's another pair of wires there, and there's a pair of wires there, and then this pair here. So these two wires, this pair and this pair, will connect straight to the terminal block, and it's those wires and those wires that will need to go via the switch. So we'll do the ones that go straight to the terminal block first. Okay, so that's two sets of red and black wires connected up to the track. Now I'm going to have to take a red wire to one switch and a black wire to another switch, and then wire up from the switches to the track. So I can isolate these guys here and these ones there. And these are the two switches we'll be wiring up. So I've got B plus and B negative there, so that was the red wire on my bus and the black wire on the bus that I can switch on and off. So essentially I'm going to be doing the same thing. Because I don't have any of these little plugs, I'm just going to use the old wire that plugged into the switch and just splice it into the new wire. And that way I can just use the old plugs. So obviously, twisting that wire together, that's going to need a bit of solder to fix that in place. But we'll do the black wire as well first. There we go, that just stops that from coming untwisted. And then just bend that back and a little bit of insulating tape. I'm aware there's the heat shrink insulation stuff, but I've used it before, and to be honest, it's more hassle than it's worth. Right, that'll do. Okay, so that's this terminal all wired up. This red wire here and this black wire here go back to the on-off switches at the controller, and these wires here are the wires coming from the switch, which go up to here and split off to the track droppers there and up there. So that's my two tracks, track 1 and track 2, now wired up with terminal block buses. Let's just see if it works, eh? Okay, so track number 1. It seems to work just fine. And let me just check that this little isolated section here is still isolated, which it is. Now, inner track. Okay, that works, but does my return loop work? So to get my return loop to work, I have to pull point number 5, point number 9, 10, and then isolate the track and the bus. Does this work? Fingers crossed. Yes, it does. Okay, cool. So that's my two main tracks rewired. Now the points and the signals are next. So yep, that'll be in part 3. See you later, guys.